Coach Gattis is a part of Mario's blueprint. Get over it. Stop whining. Stop complaining. He's a part of the blueprint. Hope y'all didn't take me serious. But seriously though, I'm going to remove myself from being a fan, and I'm going to try to put myself in Coach Cristobal's shoes. Because hot take, I don't think Coach Gas will be fired. I actually don't think Coach Gas is going anywhere. I don't. And I'm going to tell you why. I believe it was at the conclusion of spring camp, and I believe Coach Cristobal and Coach Mirabel indicated, or it may have been at the conclusion of fall camp, that they were comfortable with about 8 guys. And that's pretty good, right? That's pretty good. And you're cross-training guys, so you're comfortable with about 8 guys, right? And that depth was attacked almost immediately, right? Well, not almost immediately. Well, yes, it was attacked almost immediately, because within the first couple of games, especially the Southern Miss game, it gave us a sense, some situations caused the pause, where it's like, wait a minute now, we're not dominating up front like we need to. I don't know if it's because we're looking ahead from the Southern Miss game. I don't know if it's because we're looking ahead at Texas A&M or what the situation is. But we should have got this team out of here in the first half, got the backups in the second half, and then we ride off to Texas A&M. So we got out of there. Texas A&M game comes. Offensive line looking good. Run the ball up and down the field on Texas A&M. Could not convert in the red zone. And then after that, we have a bye week, and then the depth starts to get attacked from injuries. Guys that are not injured, not performing the way they should perform. And so yesterday was a small victory. It was a small win. I feel that way. Again, like I said, I'm detaching myself from being a fan to make this video. But from a Coach Cristobal standpoint, you got to kind of look at it and say, yeah, we didn't score. We didn't score a touchdown. But there are 3 phases to this, right? You got offense, defense, and special teams. 3 phases to this. So while we may have didn't score a touchdown, we were able to control the line of scrimmage offensively and defensively. But speaking offensively, we were able to control the line of scrimmage. I don't think Jake maybe took 1 sack. I think he was pretty much clean for the majority of the day when he made his throws, because statistics indicate that University of Virginia was tied for 11th in sacks. So they are getting after your quarterback. So I think you have to look at this as a good day. We were able to reestablish the line of scrimmage. Henry Parrish had over 100 yards. So I think what Coach Cristobal will be looking at moving forward and evaluating Coach Gattis further is, okay, we've had to go from our initial game plan. We had to alter it to help Tyler. Tyler gets hurt, and we're still in that altered game plan for Jake. Jake comes out and throws the ball, is responsible for 5 turnovers. So now the onus is back on you again, and the rest of the offensive staff is, okay, let's try to get back to what we were doing at the beginning of the year, right? Coach Gattis said a couple of weeks ago, you're not gonna be a championship caliber team throwing the ball 50 times. And while we didn't want to hear it from Coach Gattis, because it's like, bruh, we can't score. We're not scoring the football. But, I mean, it's a true statement at the end of the day, man. So, I think, again, Coach Gas will be given a clean slate somewhat to kind of see when we get the offensive line back healthy, when we get through with spring practice next year. I feel like that after spring practice, Coach Cristobal and Coach Mirabel may say, look, last year we were comfortable with 8 guys. We're attacked by the injury bug, but we're comfortable with about 10 to 12 guys now. And that's including potentially, hopefully, 2 of our signees in Francis And I'm up here acting like I'm an insider. I'm already penciling Sampson in to this class. But just say we do get Sampson, right? So both of those guys could probably come in day one and be on par with the guys that may be on the second unit. And so with the cross training that is done, I think that we can get a better outlook of what it is that Coach Gattis offers up as an offensive coordinator. Obviously, there are some things that he has to get better with. Again, when the hire was initially, made, obviously we always go back and look at the Michigan tape and say, man, this is not the offense that we really want. But again, like I said, Coach Cristobal, as much as we may not like it, he's not going to put a Band-Aid over a shotgun wound. And that Band-Aid has been trying to work around the offensive line instead of work through the offensive line. I'm going to say that again. Instead of working around the offensive line, we need to work through the offensive line, right? And so I think the last time in recent memory that I actually think that we kind of somewhat worked through the offensive line was 2013. I believe all of those guys played some time in the NFL, except for McDermott. So obviously that was a good group, but it was a group that still had some issues. But that was probably the last good group that we had, coached by the great Art Keogh. So we gotta get back to that. We gotta get back to dominating the line of scrimmage. And I want to give an example, right? When Tennessee played Alabama, the last throw that Hendon Hooker made to get them in field goal range, we threw it to Brew McCoy. He dropped back. And you got Will Anderson, all these guys coming at you, this defensive line, this Bama front. And I think he may have had 3 seconds to deliver this football. 3 seconds is an eternity throwing the football when you look at situations where there are quarterbacks that are releasing the ball in 2.6, 2.5, 2.8 seconds, 2.9 seconds. I think he had a good 3, maybe 3.5 seconds, honestly, to stand in the pocket, not break the pocket, but stand in the pocket and deliver a ball. I think his arm was somewhat hit a little bit, but it wasn't enough to alter the flight or the trajectory of the ball. Brew McCoy catches it. They're in field goal range, and they kick the game-winning field goal against Alabama. And I think that those type of situations kind of get glossed over when the talks of dominant offensive line is brought up, because when we hear that, we think about, oh man, that means we're gonna sit up here and run the ball. No, it's situations like that when we can't we can't take one side of the field completely away by the quarterback having to break out of the pocket due to a guy didn't make a block. He got to be able to stay in the pocket, right? And so, even though we may feel that Coach Gattis got to go, Coach Mario may feel like he hasn't gotten a fair shake. We didn't go through a entire season with an offensive line that we felt comfortable with. We kept, just when we thought we had something, injury, missed assignment, and so I think that's something that they're gonna chisel and work really, really hard on going into next year. Now, if we yield the same results with a better offensive line, with Coach Gattis still at the helm, I think then that would be a situation in which Coach Cristobal may look and say, hey, your services are no longer needed here at the University of Miami, because I've essentially given you everything that you needed. We got a good offensive line. We got a good quarterback. We got all these particular different things like this, and you're not getting it done. So I think that's one of those particular situations when it actually may occur that Coach Gattis may not be retained. But standing here today, taking myself away from being a fan, I really do think that Coach Gattis will be retained going into next year for the simple fact that Coach Cristobal will want him to have the opportunity to run an offense behind a strong offensive line. So leave your comments down below. Tell a friend to tell a friend. Like, subscribe, and always go Canes.